45 seconds. We'll start with the second minutes. The pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Next, the notice statement. Notice requirements of California Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied. Said notice was transmitted to the Times of Trenton and Star Ledger. Said notice was posted in the Delaware Township Municipal Building and filed with the Township Clerk on January 14, 2026. Roll call, please.
Mayor Walton.
Here.
McDaniel.
Here.
Herman.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Coffee.
Here.
Loki.
Here.
Rice.
Here.
Jim. Gilbert.
Here.
Vice Chair Pat.
She indicated she was going to be absent.
And Trevor.
Next, board professionals in attendance. We have our board attorney, but we also have zoning board planner and also a special planner for housing. So just have the record make a note that Jim and Pat is here. Next on the agenda are meeting minutes. Did everybody have an opportunity to review the February 3rd minutes?
I'll move on.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
And do we need some abstentions?
I have same.
Okay, thanks. Bills? All right, next is the bill list, general non-escrow bills. We have legal bill invoice number 3208088 dated January 5, 2026, in the amount of $1,140. Is there a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, roll call.
Mayor Walton.
Yes.
McDaniel.
Yes.
Herman.
Yes.
Miller.
Here. Yes.
Coffee.
Yes.
Loki.
Yes.
Rice.
Yes.
Gilbert.
Yes.
And Trevor.
Yes. Next, for general non-escrow, we have a bill from Colliers, 114-1093, January 25th, 2026, in the amount of $1,750. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, a second, please.
Second.
All right, roll call.
Mayor Walton.
Yes.
McDaniel.
Yes.
Herman.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Coffee.
Yes.
Loki.
Yes.
Rice.
Yes.
Gilbert.
Yes.
And Trevor.
Yes. Okay, then we also have an escrow bill from Parker McKay relating to the Overman 27 Martown School Road application on 2 invoices. 3206993 from December 9, 2025, in the amount of $166.50, and invoice number 3208089 from January 14, 2026, in the amount of $220. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mayor Walton.
Yes.
McDaniel.
Yes.
Herman.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Coffee.
Yes.
Loki.
Yes.
Rice.
Yes.
Gilbert.
Yes.
And Trevor.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda, we have correspondence. First item we are going to deal with is the budget. We need to review this and approve it in a timely fashion for the committee, which is meeting in a couple of days, to do their budget. Did everybody have an opportunity to review the budget? Do you have any comments on the budget?
I will say, as the CFO, that it's a tough year
Yeah.
for the budget. So anything you can do to cut back costs this year would be appreciated.
For sure. And I think from the perspective of legal and planning, we should be much better since we don't have to do those 3 master plan elements. So let's see, in 2025 we had a budget estimate for legal of 3,800. I think it's probably fair that we can do something along the same lines. Anybody have any comments, suggestions? And then maybe you can help me out, because we had what looks like a budget of $1,000 for services, and we used $87 for it.
Yeah, I don't know what that charge is for.
Okay,
You
but it
said-
seems like we sort of over budgeted for services.
Yeah.
And then schools meetings conference, I know we have to send Jim Shadarisis for training as a, but I don't know what that cost is, I don't think it's appropriate, so we should budget for that.
Okay,
What is that, do you know?
I think it's 195.
Okay, so then maybe that's what we should put for that.
Okay, yep.
And then dues, do we anticipate any dues?
We haven't been, but we should. We talked about that, right?
Well, there is a fee dues for the NJDO.
And then
And don't we split that with the zoning board?
we split it. We get a combination that covers government and the two boards.
Okay.
And then you also get publications from them, and you are at a discounted rate when you take the class.
Okay,
So we should do that.
okay, so how much of that is allocated to the,
I think it's, do you remember,
is
Susanna?
it 200 sort of,
Professional membership is showing as 155.
Okay.
so we should allocate 155? And then for services, maybe the board can defer to,
Sometimes you get a court reporter. It's like for something like that. We never,
but
I
we,
need one of those for ages.
right,
and can't we also,
So we can record that on the way.
right.
yeah, and also can't we require an applicant to provide the court report?
Typically, if an applicant thinks that they are going to litigate, they want to keep good record, they will bring in their own court report. I can't remember when we had to hire one.
So maybe we'll put in $100?
Okay.
Does that sound like a plan?
And just to go back to schools meeting and conferences, we have 2 new board members.
Oh, 2? Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe we better budget 400? Oh, I'm sorry, that's right, you need training too.
I don't feel like I do.
It's such an exceptionally exciting class.
So you can use another line for something else, so as long as you keep to your bottom line number.
Okay.
It's just a mechanism to help you think about things, but
Okay,
the line, it's just one line in the budget.
right, okay.
Just write it.
So planner and planning engineer. Is
So
there-
it's just planner and engineer.
Okay. So I know for planner, we can cut back, for sure. So
What was it last year?
last year we did $2,100.
That's what we actually charged. That's what was actual.
2,100.
Yeah, and we budgeted 500.
I'm sorry.
We budgeted,
Planners?
yeah, which was insufficient given the 3 master plan elements.
It's only $2,100.
Well, we did a capital to pay for some of it. That was,
You know what he actually do.
well, it wasn't charged to your line, but I don't know, yeah.
So in the past, it looks like for 2024, we budgeted 500 and we were charged 510. But then in 2023, the final budget was 2,400, but it doesn't reflect what's charged. And I don't know whether, I mean, I can't imagine that he didn't charge anything.
We have one bill on here, right?
So maybe it would be appropriate to consider about $1,000 for the planner, books and publications. Oh, wait, the engineer. How much engineering do we do that's outside of the scope of the application?
Not much, and, you know, a lot of, this was a zone change that we got charged to us.
Right. In the past, it looks like we've done.
And that's carrying over into 26, so these bills are zone changes.
Right. So, for the engineer,
And so you're starting out with a $1,100 bill for legal and $1,700 bill for planner for 2026.
okay, so then,
These are, as I say, these are really low numbers. Typically, you know, for instance, assuming that I'm the same thing, if I'm here on an application, for the time that I'm on the application, I bill the applicant. But when we're not having an application like tonight, it
right,
goes to general.
correct,
And so, you know, by the time for tonight, it's going to be a couple $100.
right,
And same thing, the planner's not here.
right.
It's gonna go through $1,000 very quickly.
I defer to, I mean.
Can we do it for can we keep a budget 9,000 total?
I see why not. We do the best we can.
I allocated that in our current budget.
So, all of that having been said then, it looks like if we do 9,000, it's a little bit more than last year. And it looks like we can at least accommodate the trainings, the dues, and the basic. I mean, I don't think we need to worry about mileage, printing.
And as I said, you can spend it, you're not gonna get penalized if it's not the right line.
Right, understood.
And if something comes up, we can always hope that we have money somewhere else at the end of the year to transfer. We have an
Right,
emergency at the end of the year.
Yeah, the only thing is that we seem to be a more popular board in the past couple of years.
We don't get that value.
I said-
A more popular board
Yeah,
than,
no, that's true.
yeah,
You also are really good at avoiding litigation. So you save a lot of money.
okay. All right, thank
I
you.
like that.
Okay, well then.
Yeah, I
what
wrote
else
that
is-
you've been more active in the
Yeah,
last few years.
yeah. I mean, what are everyone's thoughts about agreeing to a $9,000 budget?
I'm in
We'll do
agreement.
our best to stay within.
Of course.
So do I need a motion then? Or is this just a recommendation, a discussion for you?
I just need a recommendation from the planning board.
So,
So you guys agreed that your recommended budget to the CFO and to the governing body is $9,000.
okay,
And they will.
I'll let you know how it goes.
all right, cool.
That's what you're saying is that's what you think is reasonable to get through the year.
We'll do our best. Unless I get on my high horse. Okay, cool, thank you. Okay, then just for the board's,
You want to make a motion?
oh, we do need a motion, I'm sorry. All right, would
You
someone
can
like
make
to
a
make?
decision.
Yeah, would someone like to make a motion to recommend a $9,000 budget to the township committee?
I'll make the motion. Oh, second.
Okay, so Larry and then followed by Patrick. Okay, and since this involves money, I guess we'll do a roll call.
Mayor Longman,
Yes.
McDaniel,
Yes.
Harmon,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Bogie,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Woodward,
Yes.
and Mayor
Yes. All right, great. All right, then.
All right, thank you.
Sure. Now, moving on, just for the information of the board, Susanna, I guess actually the clerk sent to me and Susanna this notice from PSEG about an application for a flood hazard area.
We have PSCs anywhere?
So, in case anybody has any questions.
Overall, JCP.
I think there's a small sliver of houses that are PSCNG down by the river.
It was sent to us.
Yeah,
So
some of the
just-
high voltage stuff is to see if we see all of it.
So just informational for everybody. Okay. All right, next up for discussion is the Board of Adjustment annual report. Sure. What that was. Susanna, I have something that says page 2.
So, Chuck Klein came to the committee and asked us about the last line of the recommendation.
Oh, okay, so that's why we have page 2.
So, yeah,
Okay.
so, we deferred to the planning board to help us with the definition of a dwelling unit.
Okay, so then the planning board should be tasked with reviewing the definition, so that goes to the ordinance review committee.
Okay.
All right, so, ordinance. Oh, that's you two and Kathy, okay, so,
Okay.
I guess the committee will take a look at that and then come back to the board with some suggestions.
Absolutely.
I think, I'm sorry, if I can interrupt for 1 second, just because
Sure.
I'm the zoning board planner, and
Yes.
obviously Steve is the attorney, it might be helpful to give some context
Yes.
here.
Do you have it there? I just sent you the page. While he's looking at that, every year the zoning board is obligated to do a report that describes what they did the year before and make recommendations to the planning board and the committee about what they see, what they're seeing, and what they recommend might be changed. Since everybody by definition who comes to them is coming to them because they want an exception from the zoning. So if the zoning board sees things over and over again, they will come to you and say, look, we're seeing this kind of thing, we're having trouble with this kind of thing, here's something that we're having trouble interpreting, can you please clarify it for us, or maybe change the ordinance so that we don't have to have so many variances. So, the last recommendation is a definition that the board has a lot of trouble with interpreting. Jim can give you a little bit more detail.
I'm trying to remember the specific, we've seen at the zoning board, we've seen a lot of applications for accessory dwelling. It's not in the, deep restricted affordable housing sense, but folks just wanting to build living quarters for family members or guests or things like that. So there's a question as to whether if you remove one of those components, and this is what the zoning board determined, if you don't have cooking, sleeping, and sanitary facilities, it's not a dwelling unit. So I think we just want to make sure, as Steve said, the board has had some trouble with the definition, and I think, some applicants have as well. So there's pretty much a standard definition for a dwelling unit, and it generally has those things: sleeping, cooking, sanitary facilities. We use the term single housekeeping unit because it, trying to remember, the federal law says you can't say that unrelated people living together aren't a household, and restrict units to only, family households or something like that. So there was a specific thing with this, Steve, right?
Wasn't it about bathrooms? Because specifically, if you could have a accessory building with a garage or with a bathroom, does that constitute a dwelling?
230-31. So conversion, 230-31 is conversion of an existing accessory building into a dwelling unit. So this is, there's a lot of properties here in town where there's a farm, there is a residential house, farmhouse, and then another building. And so there's an ordinance that says when you can turn that other building into a dwelling unit. And quite frankly, it's really antiquated. And it's very, very difficult to understand. So, for instance, see if you can just follow along with this. The conversion of an existing accessory building into dwelling unit shall be permitted as a conditional use in any residential zone for the purpose of simultaneously encouraging an increase in the availability of rental units and preserving the existing rural atmosphere of Delaware Township, as well as conserving the existing building materials. Approval pursuant to this section shall be for the conversion of an existing accessory building and excludes major demolition and major reconstruction of a building. An accessory unit is anticipated to have a smaller household size than a principal residential unit. Therefore, the necessary infrastructure, septic and well, to support the new accessory use requires an increase of 50% of the existing lot size in the zone, instead of doubling the required lot size of the additional use. We haven't even got the condition. Granting of approval shall not be considered a factor. Planning board approval with conversion of an existing accessory building to a residential unit shall be subject to all of the following standards and conditions. So, the applicant shall be the owner of a tract of land in a residential zone which existed, on January 1st, 1982, a structure plus an accessory building. The minimum gross floor area 800 square feet. So what we're saying there is, it has to be an old building. It can't be something you just built as a garage and now you want to convert it to an apartment. So it has to be old. If the accessory building and the gross floor area are not listed in the property records cards, then submit some proof that it existed back then. And then it talks about how many you can have, and that's based on the lot size. You gotta have certification from an architect or engineer. Major portions of the structural elements, including foundation, beams, walls, are usable. Accessory building may be converted into a residential structure or apartment to accommodate one or two dwelling units, provided that there's determination that it will increase the number of rental units. The board determines that the exterior alterations are designed to preserve the appearance of the structure. The converted structure and occupancy must comply with stormwater conditions, meet all building and health regulations, comply with minimum lot area requirements. The owner of the tract shall at all times reside either in the converted dwelling or in the principal dwelling. That's a big one we see. In other words, you can't just be a landlord and have two buildings that you rent out. A deed restriction placed on the tract to prevent further subdivision. Kind of accessible. And the floor area shall contain a minimum interior floor area of 800 square feet. No dwelling unit or guest quarters shall be located above the second floor. Okay, so that's a problem that they're all talking about. What's a dwelling unit? Can't be located on the second floor. And now if you've got an old structure, maybe an old barn, you want to convert. And it says, no dwelling unit or guest quarters shall be located above the second floor. What does that mean?
Is that you're saying above the second floor? Well, if you went above the second floor, you exceed the height of the building anyway.
Yeah. So I think, Jim, that one place that we stumbled. How do you define guest quarters? How do you define dwelling unit?
Yeah.
So that these things can't be on the third floor.
You know what it is? It's just very convoluted, right? ADUs are something that's gaining a little more currency recently. Princeton adopted an ordinance to permit them essentially anywhere in the town. South Orange has one. It's a good idea. I think the point is, we tried to apply this, and I'm thinking, I think it was the Anastasio application, Steve, where this first came up. So the dwelling unit definition is related to this because of this section. So I think it's just looking at this and seeing, honestly, we could probably really simplify these ordinance requirements. Again, if it's something that we want to continue to allow to happen.
Or if you want to make it easier, then let somebody have a second unit on the property.
And we have seen a number of applications for ADUs at the zoning board.
I think times are changing, and people need housing. This was written at a time when there was a desire, I think, in the township to really maintain large lots, keep things rural, not encourage people to bring in people to live on that.
I don't think that was the intent at all.
What?
I don't think that was the intent at all. I think more of it, when they were considering it, was board was more concerned about how it would look. And then that's why they wanted to keep it old. And they didn't want you to come in and build something and then convert. What was happening in the past was you'd come in, you'd build a garage, and next thing you know it was trying to be converted into, and that was the whole point of this.
And the board gets that a lot.
And they didn't want that, at that time, they didn't want it to happen. They wanted to keep the rural atmosphere, so you didn't come in, build a garage, and then turn it into a dwelling unit. And next, after you did it, because then the rules would change. So that was the intent of it, not that it was, actually, they wanted a lot of the conversions because farm labor was so difficult to acquire. So disagreed that we tried to, in any way, not to have it. We just wanted it our way. And it was, and admittedly, it was our attempt years ago to do that. But I can say that we were, one of the reasons they want, it was basically to prevent building new, tried to prevent the building of structures that were going to be turned into housing units right away. And that was the only thing they wanted to do.
So I think one of the things the zoning officer struggles with is when an applicant wants to put a bathroom or like a studio on top of a garage, whether that is a dwelling unit or not.
Yeah, that was the discussion that we've had, and I've seen dwelling unit definitions in hundreds of ordinances across the state. They're all pretty much the same. And they have those common elements: cooking facilities, sleeping facilities, and sanitary. And in my opinion, the definition is very specific. So if you don't, because a lot of times it'll say cooking facilities and sleeping facilities and sanitary facilities. So if you don't have one of those three elements, then it's not a dwelling.
So here's what you're
But if you have one,
If you have all three, it is.
Right.
If you have just one component, yeah. But a lot of times what the discussion leads to is if somebody comes in and says, all right, well, fine, I'll take the cooking facilities out. It's not a dwelling unit, so I don't need relief. And then, the concern is obviously they just go put those things in later, and all of a sudden there's a dwelling unit. So,
but people put exercise.
Here's your definition. Dwelling unit, a house or other structure, or a portion of any building or structure, designed, arranged, or used for living quarters for one or more persons living as a single housekeeping unit with cooking and bathroom facilities. Cooking and bathroom.
yeah, so I think at a minimum we need to add sleeping facilities to that definition. But keep it and, so you have to have all three to be deemed a dwelling unit. Because we've had, saw an application, probably 6 years ago for conversion of a barn into accessory living space, but it didn't have sleeping facilities. So there's no issue of use, but we have limitations on the size of accessory structures, and it was a pre-existing barn, and so they had to come in for relief, but the board ultimately approved it, excuse me.
So studio apartments of old that didn't have a dedicated sleeping area would not be a dwelling.
Technically, yeah.
And, like that one either. I've been living in.
So there's your back.
Okay,
Refer to the committee?
yes. And I think it sounds like a good idea to maybe explore the ADUs, ordinances in some of the towns. Take them from them.
Yeah, Princeton's is, I'll say, very permissive, because there were people building ADUs on 4,000 square foot lots in the former borough. All of a sudden the garage would just go up and boom, there's another unit. But they, Princeton has different issues with affordability. I mean, we have similar issues here, but not like they have there. You can't touch a house anywhere in Princeton for less than $850 at this point in time, so.
Is there any chance of relaxing the rules here for an ADU while simultaneously appearing as if we're trying to meet our affordable housing restrictions?
We already have that provision in the
Okay.
ordinance, and one of the ordinances we'll be reviewing tonight, that was referred by the committee, is for, to put the subsidy into our accessory dwelling unit
Okay.
option. The problem with accessory apartments for affordable is once people get to the affirmative marketing part of it and realize they have no say in the tenant, they can run a background check and a credit check, but they can't, if those two things pass, they have to take who the administrative agent sends. And when it gets to that point, a lot of people don't want to do it. So
And they're limited on the rent.
the rent's limited, but the advantage is you deed restrict it for 10 years and then it's a legal unit after that. So, some people say, okay, I'll take 30 grand and, ride for 10 years and then I have a legal unit that I can rent for a market rate rent.
Okay.
So ours is only 10 years.
10 years is what's required for an accessory apartment in order for us to get credit.
Thank you.
Okay,
So it looks like there's a bill in the legislature about permitting accessory dwelling units unless they contain single-family dwellings. So the legislature may preempt this.
Yeah, that got killed last year. There was strong opposition from the league, because essentially what they're going to do is say any residential zone in the state, you can have an ADU. And the league, the lobby really just, for obvious reasons, they just didn't like that.
Yeah, so it's reintroduced.
Yeah, so it got killed last year, and now they're bringing it back. So we'll see.
okay. All right, well, we'll look forward to a very exciting report next month. All right, next you're on the hot seat. Review of the ordinances related to the fourth round of affordable housing plan.
Sure. So, as the board is aware, we adopted our affordable housing plan back in June of last year. That plan was submitted to the Affordable Housing Dispute Resolution Program as required by the law. We did receive a challenge from Fair Share Housing Center. It was what I would call a soft challenge. They just wanted some more information about our plan and some additional information. They also wanted to make sure they could compel us to adopt the ordinances that have been introduced by the Township Committee. So we, as the board is aware, I'll just give a quick summary. So we sought a durational adjustment for both a portion of the third round obligation as well as the entire fourth round obligation of 60 units. That's based on a lack of capacity at the Circlesville sewer plant due to I&I issues. I spent a significant amount of time talking to the engineer for the DTMUA. It doesn't appear that those are going to be remedied quickly. I think it's going to be a slow roll to kind of start addressing these things over a period of time. The plant was built in the 60s. A lot of the pipes have been in the ground since then, and they're just not doing a good job. So we did not necessarily get a lot of pushback from Fair Share on the durational adjustment. There was a consent order entered with the Mount Laurel judge, and essentially it said, adopt these ordinances and do these couple of things, and we're good. So the four ordinances that the board is reviewing tonight have been referred by the Township Committee under the requirements of the municipal land use law. Whenever a zoning ordinance is contemplated or introduced, it has to be referred to this board to determine if there are any elements of the ordinance that is inconsistent with the township master plan. The housing element fair share plan that we adopted last June is part of the master plan. And essentially, these ordinances, all of them were discussed in that plan and are noted as being needed. The thing that happened was, so this is our development fee ordinance, our affordable housing regulating ordinance, and then we have our accessory apartment ordinance and our mandatory set-aside ordinance. So the mandatory set-aside ordinance was proposed as a mechanism to capture any units, well, we don't have any units in the plan, but if somebody comes in with a project of 5 units or more, they have to provide a set-aside of affordable units. Pretty typical requirement for either a town with a vacant land adjustment or a durational adjustment like we have. The accessory apartment ordinance amendment is noted in the housing plan, and we need to just add the subsidy that's required. So we do have some money in our affordable housing trust fund. I think it's $350,000 or $370,000 at this point. So we needed to amend the ordinance to make sure that people were aware of the subsidy that we're required to pay, essentially to help with the creation of that accessory unit. The affordable housing ordinance and the development fee ordinance are based on regulations that were adopted by the state of New Jersey in December of 2025. That was the Uniform Housing Affordability Controls and what they're calling the Affordable Housing Regulations. It's NJAC 5:99, which is more related to the spending plan. So we had to bring our ordinances into conformance with those requirements. I will tell you that they are already talking about amending those requirements. There was a lot of discussion in our office about how to do this, because as you can see, the affordable housing ordinance is like 36 pages. It's basically just a regurgitation of things that are already codified in state regulations. So we talked about an approach where we just said, okay, we're following these regulations, and it's a one-liner, because what's going to happen is if they amend these in the next 6 months, we're going to have to go back and amend this ordinance as well. So it's interesting, the Affordable Housing Professionals of New Jersey, they had a working group that put together a model ordinance, which is what we used for these. And there was some correspondence sent out from them. They're going to try to move to a point where we only reference UHAC and 5:99, that we don't repeat this in our local ordinance, because then every time they change these regulations fairly often, and there's already problems with them. So they're getting feedback, they're making changes. So we'll talk about it. I think there'll be a little more action on that over the next 6 months. So when they do amend them, maybe we're going to change our approach and just do it by reference so that we don't have to deal with this.
So what do you see as the pushback right now? Other than that they are unreadable.
So the administrative agents that work, they handle all the administration of affordable units. They create rehabilitation manuals, affordability assistance manuals, things like that. They like these to be in the local ordinance for some reason. I don't know why. But so it may be that we have some kind of hybrid at that point. We don't really have any units to administer in Delaware Town. Well, we do, but they might be done by the developer. So we'll talk about that. But Fair Share Housing Center seems to have a preference that these be repeated in the local ordinance.
What do you see right now as being pushed out on UHAC regulations?
The administrative agents are talking about just some issues with mechanics, and in their practice, they're using things that are not reflected in UHAC that they want to be reflected. So that's, there were a bunch of administrative agents on the working group. My partner Beth was part of that too, that came up with the models. So they feel that there are amendments needed so that they can do their jobs more effectively. I don't know what the specifics are, but that's the general. So, in short, the affordable housing regulating ordinance, the development fee ordinance, those are just repeats of what is codified at the state level. Again, recommended in the housing plan. We knew we were going to have to adopt these once they finalize these regulations. Similarly, the accessory apartment ordinance is also called out in our plan, as is the mandatory set-aside ordinance. So in my view, consistency in this instance is pretty simple, because there are things that we talk about in the master plan, and now we're simply adopting them. So I don't find any components of these ordinances to be in any way inconsistent with the township's master plan.
Okay, so based on that,
So what you'd be looking for is a motion
Yeah.
that define the ordinances, be consistent with the master plan, consistent with the fourth round housing element share plan. You recommend them for adoption of the township.
Anyone want to make a motion to that effect?
I'll make
All right, Patrick, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
Before we do roll call, can I ask a question? For the set aside, when does that take effect? Like, is there anyone, like, before the Board of Adjustment with any subdivisions or?
No,
No. There's talk, I think, so.
there's always talk. Plus, we have never-ending things that are ongoing still, but I'm not really aware of, we haven't, Lacandro was the only subdivision application that the board took action on, and that was because they needed a use variance to provide the 2 affordable units in a duplex. So we haven't seen much in the way of subdivision applications. Now, you guys might.
There's one coming here.
Okay.
We got very few.
Awesome,
There's one coming.
awesome.
It's always
So I think there's only one with 4.
So would they have to follow this?
Correct. So, if the township committee adopts this within the next week, it'll be effective, 20 days after
You have to
publication?
stop them? Yeah.
Okay, so,
So
within the
time of
next 30,
application?
I'm sorry?
Under time of application.
Correct. So, it'll be effective within a month. So, and as long as the board is aware too of this ordinance, so as you're seeing these applications, it's just in the back of your head that, we need to make sure they're providing an affordable unit.
So this is already part of our master plan. We're asking them to adopt it as a full ordinance, or is it, that's what we're voting?
It's an ordinance that helps them effectuate the plan that you adopted.
That's, okay.
You
That's
adopted the plan, and now the state says, once you've got your plan, you gotta have, we have to know that you are
serious
implementing
about it, yeah.
in the way that we want.
Okay.
So that when you have an affordable unit, here's what it's gonna have to look like, here's how it's gonna be administered, here's how you can make sure that it stays affordable for 30 or 40 years.
And also we're subject to a consent order, but we agreed to adopt it.
We are, yeah, yep.
So double whammy.
Yeah.
Answer your question?
I did, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, any other questions? So we do have a motion that's been seconded, so, should I do a roll call or is all?
Yeah.
Okay, roll call please.
Mayor Walton,
Yes.
McDaniel,
Yes.
Herman,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Wilkie,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
and Jefferson.
Yes. All right, so,
And then what you can do is, we've got representatives of the government body here, but you can do an email or a letter to the government body, to the clerk, saying, this was the motion that was passed. It was adopted.
And our meeting's Monday, so we'd like it Monday, please.
okay. All right, well, thank you so much for your time, Jim, appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank
We'll see you Monday, right?
Here's
Oh.
yeah, because I have a pending disaster in Brattleboro that I have to go deal with. So that's going to probably come on Zoom, just in case there are any questions from the public or the committee at that point. But we're lucky in that, again, these aren't, mechanisms.
She can't make it to the meeting? She can't?
Oh, I'll see.
That would be better.
Okay, yeah, I'll try.
Yeah, this is difficult.
Yeah, we'll try.
Thank you.
Okay, moving right along. Completeness review, we have none. Applications, we have none. Resolution, finally. Sorry. We do have one resolution, application number 2025-09, resolution number 2026-01, Belinda Overman, 27 Longtown School Road, Block 5 preliminary minor site plan and conditional use approval. We did have a form of the resolution provided to us with some red line comments. Did everybody have an opportunity to look at those? Steve circulated those?
Red line comments?
Did you just circulate that to me?
That was the ordinance.
It's the ordinance is.
Oh, sorry, never mind.
So no, the resolution,
Got it, never mind. The resolution is
sent
in good
back to
shape.
the professionals, they had no comments.
Right.
Sent back to Mr. Scholl, he said it was fine with him, so
Okay,
should be no issues.
okay, so presumably the board has no comments or questions on the formal resolution? Okay, hearing none, I'll take a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll move the resolution.
Okay, and is there a second? Okay, Mark. Roll call, please.
Mayor Walton,
Yes.
Daniel,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Dolly,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right, you're all set.
You're the
The
best.
resolution
Thanks,
is approved.
Thank you all so much.
Sure.
Thank you for hearing me
Good luck.
and
Good luck.
Yes.
excited.
You're not gonna stay for the whole thing?
Pardon me?
No, I'm just teasing.
You want to stay the rest of the
Now
time?
I'm gonna feel very guilty getting up. and-
Just joking, go, please, go.
Come on.
Go.
Okay,
The
thank
next,
you again, everybody, really, thank you.
the next item are our committee reports. First, subdivision site plan review committee, we did not know this, because of applications pending. Ag advisory committee, Mr. Coffey.
Yeah, we did meet and we had the federal people come in and talk about preservation. The American Farmland Trust, part of the Agricultural Conservation Easement Program, also the American Farmland Trust. They came in, he came in and told us how their program works and how we can partner with them, and how they don't hold the easement is held by someone else, generally SADC or Huntington Land Trust. They went through their requirements, they're a little bit stiff on one end, but a little bit more lax on the other, but they have no restriction on the amount of property. They don't give you an acreage. They just assume that if you didn't meet the farmland part of it, you weren't gonna get approved anyway. But they don't have an acreage limit like we do. They do have an impervious coverage that is stricter, but then they allow, but they allow more, forest coverage than the SADC does. So they were here.
Was Jeff Middleton present by any chance?
No.
Maybe you can share some of the information with us?
Sure.
Okay, open space committee? Mr. Coffey?
Yeah, we discussed the Kohler property, discussed the different preservation topics and options for preservation, and discussed some of the outreach project and how it worked or not worked, and the April open house, which is the 11th, I think.
Yes, 11th from 10 to 12. Do I need to reserve this one? Okay, next Saturday.
So you have a key, right?
Yes.
That should be fine, but just,
Okay, so I should tell
I mean, what is it?
Diana,
Saturday?
Saturday, April 11th from 10 to 12.
Open house for open space?
There will be little cards going to that effect. Okay, master plan committee. I'm off limits. I spent way too much money last year, so no master plan committee discussion. Let's see, ordinance review committee.
I guess that's us. We've been discussing the animal control ordinance.
Okay,
um,
that's still under discussion.
under discussion.
Okay. All right, quarry compliance committee.
Before we get there, do you want to use that committee report to go over the changes to the accessory structure?
Oh, that's a good idea, yes.
These are the changes that Kath picked up. Roz did a good job of capturing Kathy's language, and then I added the new whereas clause based on the master.
That's,
If you look at the red line, you can
yes,
see how it
that's
changed from the one we
yes.
saw last one.
Sorry, too many ordinances. So, okay, so everyone had an opportunity to look at that. And, in terms of the ordinance review, are we now comfortable with the way this is phrased? To the point where we are willing to make a recommendation to send this to the township committee?
No, I'll make a recommendation to send it on.
Okay, so, I guess that's a motion from Larry. And is there a second? Okay, a second from Mark. Roll call, please.
Mayor Long,
Yes.
McDaniel.
Yes.
Herman,
Yes, sorry.
Miller,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Logan,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
and Chairperson Bowman.
Yes. So I guess that would be another note to the township committee, to put this up on the agenda for I guess, whatever the process is.
Recommend introduction.
Recommend introduction.
It may not make much, it might be.
Yeah,
I don't think it's an introduction.
yeah, you can go ahead.
And then ironically, it's after that.
Right.
Okay, all right, so, now we'll go to the Port Compliance Committee.
Okay, so we were gonna meet, and then there was some back and forth about it, and someone has a broken leg or something, and, yeah, so we're still waiting to hear when he can come to a meeting.
Okay. All right, thanks for the update. Stormwater management.
Unfortunately, I had to miss this month. I know they met, and I don't have follow-up on that, but we are meeting again this month, and I'll bring some information.
All right, thank you. And finally, zone change committee.
We're waiting for the budget to pass before we add any additional expenses.
All right. Liaison reports. Okay, Mr. Klein is not here. Susanna, anything to report for zoning board?
So they did meet, there is an application on for next month, they're not meeting this month.
Okay, thank you. Environmental commission. Ms. Katz is not here. I don't think we don't have the other representatives. Oh, I know, she told me what to say. I'm sorry, we changed my note. The main thing to report is the Bluebird Talk is taking place on March 18th. And it is at 7:30 here in this building. So that's it for the environmental commission. Shade tree, Mr. Cobb.
We do not meet.
Okey-doke. And finally, Board of Ed.
Nothing to report. Our meeting is scheduled for the 17th, but it might get pushed to the 24th depending on the state release of budget numbers.
Okay, all right. Okay, I will now open the session to the public for comments and questions. I see a couple people there. Looks like Jess and Guest. Do either of you have any comments or questions for the board? All right, I guess hearing none, I'm going to close the public portion. I'll move on to board member comments and questions. And I'll go around the room, so I'll start with you.
No.
Okay. Linda?
No.
Nothing? Mark?
Nothing further, thank you.
I forgot to mention that the agriculture committee will meet on the second Tuesday of the month. It's been changed from the time of,
Oh,
it used to be, it used to be before the planning board. Now it's going to be the second Tuesday.
okay. Does that have to be published?
That was Christian took care of it.
Okay, cool.
Too bad they can't meet before the open space awards.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No comments? All right, I don't think I have comments. Other than, thank you, everybody. Appreciate everyone's patience with my distraction being late today. So our next meeting is April 7th. It's a regular meeting. And so at this point, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Second?
Oh, second.
Okay, well, you get to choose. Mark, Diane. And all in favor?
Aye.
All righty, thanks
Thank
everyone,
you.
appreciate it.
Who's done? Thanks, Justin.